Hello and welcome to the ISF Virtual Congress. Thank you for joining us from wherever you are in the world. I hope that you, your families, and your colleagues remain in the best of health. My name is Francine Sayoc, the Communications Manager of ISF, and we are so glad you're here today to keep the conversation going on topics that are very important, not just for the seed sector, but in the broader context of sustainable agriculture. What will tomorrow's food systems look like, and how will the seed sector contribute? How do innovation and science come into play? These and more will be answered in the next 3 days as we welcome industry leaders and experts in live panel discussions where you, watching from your home or your office, can participate via live chat or in the live Q&A sessions. So let's kick off today's program. It is my pleasure to introduce a business leader whose family has been in the seed sector for 5 generations. Please welcome the President of ISF, Mr. Eduard Fito.
Despite the unprecedented circumstances that have led us to this situation, I would like to welcome you all to this virtual World Seed Congress. I would have wished to address you in person, for all of us to be in the same room together, especially as this is my final year as President of ISF. But the current pandemic and the postponement of the World Seed Congress in South Africa gives us limitations. That's why we had to be creative in finding this virtual solution to communicate and engage. Civilizations flourished when groups of people came together to do agriculture. They started passing seeds to neighboring tribes, and along with the seeds, the know-how to obtain a harvest from them. We are no longer living in small groups, but now complex societies are the norm, wherever we go. However, today we're still sharing new seeds. This indeed makes the wheels of economy turn, as they started to do well over 13,000 years ago, but done today in a much bigger scale and supported by professional sector of plant breeders, seed producers, traders, cooperatives, and others. When something threatens the flow of seeds around the world, it brings into sharp focus the importance of securing the movement of seeds to protect our food security. This is what had happened as a consequence of the COVID-19 pandemic. Seeking isolation by closing borders could be a good strategy to prevent contagion. But not sowing today means no harvest tomorrow and no food the day after. In the context of this difficult time, let me share an uplifting anecdote of my own personal experience in our company. When explaining the importance of our industry's role and thus of the company itself, we show without exception how every single person did their best to secure the continuity of our activity. As did both governments and regulators, ruling in favor of the continuity of our industry, as many countries did, shows that the message was deeply understood. But that doesn't mean that we can relax, rather the opposite. We know how we have to work harder to harmonize laws that facilitate the import and export of seeds. To achieve this goal, it's imperative to continue developing the systems approach we have been drawing up over the last 2 years. Furthermore, plant breeders' rights must be upheld in every country. We are not there yet, but definitely closer than 2 years ago. And increasingly, seeds companies are becoming aware of the importance of preserving the propriety of our varieties and our genetic diversity. The race to breed new seeds cannot be won with the current tools alone. We need to improve our breeding techniques, and we need the Germans to develop better crop varieties. A fair and sustainable treaty needs to be agreed upon. I know that, as yet, this expected agreement has not been reached, but we should not give up. New strategies will be studied to achieve concurrence in the coming years. Along with broadening our journalism, we also need to employ new techniques. When it comes to regulating the latest breeding techniques, we should explain and communicate the importance of offering new varieties. We must make it clear that humankind still needs to overcome new threats, from diseases, weather change, and respond to the market needs. Moreover, the advantages and disadvantages of these latest techniques must be explained scientifically and transparently to gain wide support. On handing over the presidency to my successor, I would like to tell you all how much I enjoyed this unforgettable experience. I must confess that this has not been a balanced win-win situation, since I have the impression that what I'm taking home is much more valuable than what I'm leaving you. I do hope, however, that my legacy contributes in some small way to the fantastic work that the ISF staffs and volunteers are carrying out. Thank you.
Thank you, Eduard. And now to give us the highlights of ISF in 2019 and 2020, and to further explain the seed sector's role in food production and contribution to SDGs, please welcome the Secretary General of ISF, Mr. Michael Keller.
I'm proud to be here and to speak to you all at the ISF Virtual Congress 2020. Today, we were all supposed to be in beautiful Cape Town. Ladies and gentlemen, dear members, colleagues, partners, and most of all dear friends, I would like to start by acknowledging and expressing gratitude to South Africa. We may not be with you in person, but you are still in the leading spirit of this virtual Congress, and we will meet in 2022. And because we are talking about Africa, I would like to start straight away by addressing the so-called elephant in the room. We all know what that is. The reason why ISF World Seed Congress cannot take place. The reason why agricultural production and the food chain faces such a massive and unprecedented challenge. The reason why this Congress, even if virtual, may turn out to be one of the most important ever. COVID-19 may have prevented us from meeting physically, but modern technology makes this virtual Congress possible. And we are connected, not just by internet. No, we are connected by our shared commitment to make high-quality seed accessible to more farmers around the world. Because of COVID-19, or rather because of its impact on the world's entire society and our way of living, we as the seed sector will use this Congress to ask ourselves a set of almost existential questions. How vulnerable are we? How do we emerge out of this crisis? How strong can we be? And most importantly, how can our seed sector help the world to weather this and other crises? I personally believe that yes, we are vulnerable. But dear friends around the world, we are very strong too. And more than that, I'm entirely convinced that we can emerge out of this pandemic stronger and more united than ever. Why? Because today an increasing consensus exists that transition to more sustainable agriculture and food production and food system is critical and requires innovation. Because the world needs a strong seed sector, and the current crisis shows that need is stronger than ever. And we, the seed sector, with the strength of its diversity, are ready to engage. Seed by itself is not the single contributor to agricultural production. Other inputs, mechanization, digitalization, more integrated approaches, and many other factors are essential too. But seed by itself is the starting point, and a foundational contributor to agricultural production. The World Bank mentioned it is the most critical input. If the seed is not right, the output will not be right. Even before the current crisis, the seed sector had been considerably progressing and contributing. Today, ISF includes over 7,500 companies from over 80 countries, breeding, producing, trading. The strength is our diversity from small multinationals, medium companies, and the work on diversity of crops we are working. That in itself is a massive advantage that will help us to achieve the common vision to build seed choice and make quality seed accessible to all. This crisis shows that we must continue, but cooperation will help us. Do it better. Do it together. COVID-19 reminded us that a sudden crisis has the ability to threaten the production of crops and movement of agricultural goods around the world. To make seed accessible to farmers, to prepare the harvest and food of tomorrow, we have had to overcome during COVID-19 crisis lockdowns, curfews, and restrictions on travel and trade. We are unlikely to return to business as usual, not now, and maybe never. But we can yet turn around this crisis to emerge stronger. We can use it as a moment of reflection, serious reflection. What does this moment teach, and how can we be more resilient? I would like to make 3 points. First, COVID-19 shows how connected we all are. The crisis reminds us once again how countries are not independent when it comes to seed breeding, production and trading. We are linked in a complex and inevitable way. Seed movement today is tenfold higher than 20 years ago. Therefore, in a globalized world, consistency, joint visions and mutual recognitions are crucial. The G20, WTO, FAO, OECD pointed out during the recent weeks the importance of food production, food security and trade with specifications to facilitate the seed movement. This should guide us in our further discussions. Second, COVID-19 shows us the importance of trust. Black swan events do happen and they can threaten crop production. Managing such difficult situations requires us to act together. Trust is more essential than ever. The day-to-day relationship and cooperation that we as seed sector have with farmers is not only part of our daily business, but it allows us in trust and mutual understanding to fulfill our contribution to food security, food choice of today, tomorrow, and after tomorrow. In these times, a trustful relationship with governments is of utmost importance. Therefore, the seed sector would like to express its thanks to the many governments who have recognized seed as system relevant or essential good, allowing seed to move within the country and abroad, to reach farmers and to allow us to contribute to the harvest of tomorrow. Digitalization of certificates, Fito, or electronic communication were experienced, paving the way to for application in the future. Therefore, today, we would like to plant in trust and partnership the seed of recovery and resilience. More than ever, we have to stay optimistic, to collaborate together at the local, national, and international level. Third, in the long term, COVID-19 shows the importance of building resilience. When more farmers have seed choice and more farmers have access to improved quality seeds, then they will be able also to be more resilient. FSO's project, Seeds for Development, on smallholder farmers in Central America showed the importance and the positive impact of quality seed. How can we further generalize this? Improving informed seed choice, building seed supply chains, and access of quality seed to farmers should be a joint effort involving governments, NGOs, public, but also the private sector. I'm completely convinced that the seed sector has a major role to play in a resilient future, and we are aware of our responsibility, we have no time to lose. In this spirit, I would like to highlight some key themes relevant for our sector. Conservation, access, and use of genetic resources are immensely critical for our biodiversity and our capacity as a seed sector to address challenges we are facing today and tomorrow. How can we not forget that there is a target in the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, which is to maintain the genetic diversity in food production. The international treaty is critical, and the seed sector stays committed in the engagement to contribute to further improve the access and benefit sharing. There is a consensus that in agriculture, innovation is an imperative. However, innovation is not an objective itself. Innovation is serving to address challenges, impacting our capacity to strive forward sustainable agriculture and food security. Since the dawn of agriculture, humans have been engaged in developing seeds. Over time, these efforts became more sophisticated in order to address new and more challenges. This is in our DNA since hundreds of years. Our members, with ever advancing methods, are investing in breeding to increase yield, to combat diseases, pest salinity, drought, strengthen shelf life. More recently, needs and preference of consumers like taste or nutritional quality, and quite more. In times of COVID-19, we should remind ourselves on the crucial engagement against plant diseases and their control to avoid any spread. Let me reiterate, in the International Year of Plant Health 2020, the seed sector engagement to provide healthy quality seed a starting point for healthy plants and healthy food. Healthy plants are our main source of food and nutrition. On top of the International Year of Plant Health, should we not all be guided by the Sustainable Development Agenda, including the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2030, poverty, hunger, health and well-being, decent work, economic growth, climate action, life on land, partnership, all is in. COVID-19 should not let us forget that these problems are more real and more pressing than ever, and that when they strike us, we must be prepared. The question for the seed sector today is not whether we endorse these goals. We already do that through our everyday work. If we like it or not, challenges will not stop. We need to act. There is no one-size-fits-all solution. Too often, discussions at international level are not able to recognize the specificities and the strengths of all of us. And I would like to make the call that the private sector should be entirely part of all the joint efforts. The seed sector would like to express its readiness to contribute, further advance some of the world's most challenging problems by providing seed choice and access to quality seed for all farmers. And I insist by saying all farmers, to ensure global food security and choice, sustainable crop production, health and climate adaptation, and their contribution to the achievement of the UN Sustainable Development Goals. To contribute further, we are looking for the development of science and risk-based seed policies, regulations and standards, and promoting consistent and effective implementation at national, regional and global levels to be able to make improved quality seed accessible. We are encouraging policy environments that supports fair and sustainable business models. Let's learn what happened during the last few months and weeks. Let's act now, hand in hand, to plant now the seed of recovery and resilience. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. And now, ladies and gentlemen, to shine the spotlight on international efforts to achieve zero hunger and improve nutrition and food security for all, we are honored to be joined by our keynote speaker, whose farming roots in Indiana, USA, has led her to the private and public sectors, formerly as president and CEO of AgriNovus Indiana, and a member of the board at the Purdue Research Foundation. Today, she's the Deputy Director General of Operations at FAO. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce Ms. Beth Bechtel.
Fito, distinguished participants, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. It is my great honor to be able to address you on the occasion of the opening of the Congress of the International Seed Federation 2020. Let me start by saying we cannot have good crops without good seeds. And the chain of seed production, quality control, and distribution, both nationally and internationally, is vital to assuring that we have quality seeds. However, due to COVID-19, we are now seeing potential disruptions in the seed value chain, which may endanger food security in the coming months. At the same time, we are facing other unprecedented pressures, such as climate change and a global population increase from 3.2 billion just 50 years ago to almost 7.8 billion today. This number is projected to grow to around 9.7 billion by 2050, when we will need to produce about 60% more food. We will also need to ensure that this food is safe and nutritious and produced without damaging our planet. The responses to these challenges need to come from science and technology. In this regard, FAO is committed to developing tools that will enable member countries to make better, more strategic decisions. A prime example of this approach is FAO's Hand-in-Hand initiative, which will use the power of big data to target interventions to enhance productivity in developing countries in a sustainable way. FAO envisages production systems that are knowledge rather than input intensive. But we also recognize that no one stakeholder can solve these challenges alone. Specifically, FAO recognizes the importance of partnering with the private sector to support member countries in developing and enhancing capacity to face the world's great challenges, including sustainably providing enough nutritious food for people to thrive. Having a functional, inclusive, and efficient seed system in countries will enable the use of quality seeds and planting materials of productive varieties, which is one of the pillars of sustainably enhanced crop productivity. FAO also recognizes that the production of new varieties that are resilient to the vagaries of climate change is more important than ever. In FAO, we dedicate significant human resources to these issues. We provide assistance to member countries to enhance institutional and human capacities, helping to develop a vibrant seed sector that will lead to the production and use of better varieties by all farmers. And in all of this, we rely on and need your support. I'm truly sorry I cannot participate in person in this virtual Congress, but I wish you success and very much look forward to going forward together. Thank you very much.
And now to tell us about the significance of the International Year of Plant Health, I would like to welcome the chairman of the IYPH Steering Committee, Mr. Ralf Lopian.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor and a privilege to have been invited to the Virtual Congress of the International Seed Federation. I have been invited because I'm the chair of the International Steering Committee for the International Year of Plant Health, and I have been asked to tell you a little bit about plant health. Why do we want to have an International Year of Plant Health? Plant health, which is basically the knowledge or the discipline of pests, which are distributed from one country to another, from one area to another via trade and other means, has been in the focus because recently plant health risks and challenges have increased substantially. We have an increased international trade of agricultural commodities. Since the year 2000, agricultural trade has tripled, in fact. We have new pathways for pests and diseases to come into our countries, to come in our areas. For instance, wooden packaging material has proven to be a very effective pathway for pests to change their location. We have the disturbances in and weakening of ecosystems, and we have climate change, which further weakens and disturbs ecosystems around the world. Besides these more pest relevant risks and challenges, we also have been facing administrative challenges to deal with these pests. The resources of national plant protection organizations have been diminishing in quite a lot of countries throughout the world. We have less plant health research at universities and research institutions. The extinction of taxonomic expertise has been noticed around the world. It is very difficult today to find taxonomists which can describe a new species or which have so much knowledge about new species of insects or fungi, bacteria or viruses. And we have less diagnostic services. Ladies and gentlemen, the International Year of Plant Health has been an attempt to raise the issue of public and political awareness for plant health so that we can fight the risks and challenges pests and diseases pose to our farmers, to our forest owners, and to our environment. The seed sector has there an important role to play. As we all know, healthy seeds are for healthy crops. And plant health is not only a regulatory issue. Plant health is also an issue where the private sector has an important role to play. Plant health can only be effective if there is an active cooperation between the public and the private sector. And more than ever, the private sector must be in the boat when plant health policies are decided by regulators in countries. For example, in Finland, we have a system where the private sector is regularly involved in making policy decisions for plant health. And more than ever, the private sector must realize that good plant health is a sustainable way of producing plants and commodities. There's a citation from the former Director General of FAO, José Graziano da Silva. There is no peace without tackling food security and eliminating hunger, and there will be no food without tackling climate change. Ladies and gentlemen, plant health is an important tool to prevent hunger and to mitigate some effects of climate change. The effects of hunger and climate change will impact around the world and may cause environmental degradation, wars, economic crisis, and consequently mass migration movements. Mass migration movements which we cannot really afford in many parts of the world. And increased global efforts to improve plant health may partially mitigate these effects. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, we all need to put our efforts together to collaborate to improve the plant health around the world, to help humanity to reach its sustainable development goals. Thank you very much.
And now, to give us something to look forward to, I would like to welcome the chairman of the National Organizing Committee of the 2021 World Seed Congress. To give us a preview of his beautiful and vibrant country, please welcome Mr. Julián Arnedo.
Dear Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, hola, good morning. On behalf of the Spanish National Organizing Committee, I am very pleased and honored to invite all of you to attend the next ISF World Seed Congress 2021, which will take place in Spain in the wonderful city of Barcelona. This is going to be an exceptional Congress for several reasons. First of all, because of the terrible circumstances that the world is going through this time because of the pandemic caused by COVID-19. However, let me take this opportunity to make a call to optimism. We are confident that we will all be strengthened from this order that fate has in store for us, and we will take this opportunity to give birth to a better, more caring and cooperative world, and in which the role of agriculture and overseas sector will be strengthened. We also hope that the next year we will be able to receive you all in Barcelona in a safe environment having been able to overcome this ordeal and merge into a big hub. Let me also tell you that the next year's Congress will be very special for all of us, because it will be the first after this unprecedented crisis, which has highlighted the importance of agriculture and the food supply chain. It's going to be a unique opportunity to show the world who we are and why we are so important. To demonstrate in short that the seed industry plays a fundamental role as the basis of that food supply chain, and that we are a mature and professional sector capable of responding to the challenge that the future poses to us. And the Congress next year will also be important for us, because agriculture is a strategic sector for the economy, society, and territory cohesion in Spain. We are the world's leading exporter of fresh produce, fruits and vegetables, and the first producer in the European Union. Beyond that, Spain presents ideal conditions for our industry because of both its geographical situation and agriculture and climate diversity to become a world lead in plant breeding and seed production. I would prove of that the more than 50 breeding stations located in our country, which constitute one of the major plant research poles in the world, particularly for fruits and vegetables. Barcelona receives over 12 million visitors a year, offering very good conference center to make the entire ISF meeting very comfortable. It also has huge hotels of different classes and a large number of restaurants with Spanish, Mediterranean, and international food. And last but not least, the Congress next year will be exceptional because of the venue. Our country, and especially Barcelona, don't need introduction, as they are worldwide recognized for its incredible cultural heritage and beauty, and the beauty of this monument, and for the exceptional quality of its food and wines. In Barcelona, you will find a cosmopolitan and modern city famous all over the world for its arts and monuments, and with the most beautiful surrounding from the marvelous Mediterranean Sea to the splendid mountains of Pyrenees. Plenty of picturesque villas along the road, all seasoned with the best cuisine and wines you could enjoy, and with the open and warm character of our people. Apart from all this consideration, Barcelona is a large city with a population close to 2 million, but it's friendly, pleasant city where you can walk and get lost in its neighborhood safely. The weather in late May is warm, but not too hot, allowing you to enjoy the outdoors and many terraces that the city offers. In itself, Barcelona is a city to enjoy it. Come to Barcelona next year to celebrate altogether one of the best congresses in the ISF history. You will not to be disappointed in any sense. Thank you very much. Nos vemos en Barcelona.
Thank you for listening to the inspiring messages from our speakers. And now it's your time to join the conversation. Please join us in the live Q&A that follows immediately by logging into the next session. See you there.